Rhodes.
And I'm Christina Guerrero. You know, there are only 10 more weeks until the end of the year,
Crazy.
Meaning there's not much time to take any PTO you still have.
And it might sound crazy, but more than half of us don't take all of our paid time off. And that's more than just wasting precious time.
That's right, it's costing money as well. Teresa Strasser showing us why we should put those vacation days to good use. And that's our featured story at the top of the list.
Taking time off and getting paid to do it sounds like a dream, but it turns out a lot of people do not take advantage of that opportunity.
In fact, U.S. employees use on average only about 70% of their time off.
Vital Eilat Reichel, co-founder and CEO of Sorbet, a firm that works with companies to allow employees to convert their unused PTO into cash, says we need to understand just how important paid time off really is. Starting with the fact that it isn't just a perk, it's part of your paycheck.
It's essentially set up so that each employer provides us with an X amount of days that we're supposed to be working, but then they actually pay us not to work an X amount of days.
So when you don't use that time, you're actually losing part of your paycheck.
Your salary is actually paying for the amount of days that you were supposed to be working, but then you actually didn't take the time off, which means that you worked extra days for which you haven't been paid.
And those days really add up.
An average employee in the U.S. will have approximately $3,000 of unused vacation or paid time off at any given moment.
Which is why you need to know your rights, the biggest of which is carryover is key.
For those extra days you worked, you don't actually get paid immediately through your salary. And worst case scenario, you will actually lose either all of those days that you worked because you're under some use it or lose it policy, or a portion of it if your employers only carry over a certain amount of those days.
While she says most employers do provide an allocated number of carryover days, not all do, and the number allowed varies.
It's really important to educate yourselves on your rights.
PTO can tell you a lot about a company because it reflects the culture.
A company that prioritizes employee wellness will more often than not have a generous pay time off policy.
So when looking for a new job, don't just look at the healthcare benefits, but also look at the vacation time.
But beyond just that number, just that allocated amount, I would go as far as to ask, is this something that is encouraged? Do they truly want people to take time off?
And finally, if unlimited PTO sounds too good to be true, it just might be.
You know, limited PTO is one of those trick benefits that kind of started popping up in recent years.
It turns out it can actually benefit the company because when you leave a job, your employer has to pay you for any unused PTO days. But with no set amount, they aren't financially responsible.
Unlimited PTO essentially removes the responsibility from the employer to make sure that you do take this time and actually kind of throws it back to the employee. If you look at the data, it overwhelmingly points towards the fact that under unlimited PTO, people actually end up taking a lot less time. On average, almost 3 days less.
Learning more about paid time off and its importance is on the top of the list.